I'm glad that my Bravo humor is agreeing with you, and you're my target audience, so that's good.
I am the target audience for this movie. Being a writer and like director and actor, like, I mean, why this? You know what I mean? Like, have you had like scripts that you are like, God, this is so good, and, and someone's just like,
Right.
pass, this, and then were you shocked? And also, like, the two-part question, like when they're like, no, this is the one we want.
Well, I had written several screenplays. I honestly don't know how many before, but it wasn't like a ton. But there was something about, I wrote it in 2019, and I was very bitter about a certain professional kind of fallout, and I just went nuts. And my longtime collaborators told me, that my director and the lead producer, they were like, write the movie that you would want to see. And I just remember seeing these movies like Cruel Intentions and Wild Things and other movies from the late 90s and early 2000s that were thrillers, but that had this campiness to it, and people used sex to get what they wanted and just did things that you would never do and say things that you would never say, and that there was almost a perverse quality that yielded such entertainment and joy out of that. And so for me, it was just kind of this release to write a really fun, fucked up, a great movie that I would want to see in theaters that just isn't made anymore. And so when I sent it to them, they thankfully were like, oh my God, this is nuts, we're in. And that's how it sort of went. When we sent it to different other producers and financiers and the actors, the reaction was either, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Like, never speak to me again, and there's something wrong with you. Or, oh my God, this is exactly my style of humor. This is exactly what I love, and I am all in. And so those, to me, that's art, having such an extreme reaction. It was really kind of gratifying. Yeah.
And there were people that were just like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, this is sick.
Yes. Which a lot of critics feel, but we don't, there are a lot of, for lack of a better word, straight bro critics that really didn't get the movie, but they don't get camp, and that's okay. The people who enjoy it and love it, they are ride or dies, which is exactly what this was all about.
That's exactly what we want. Did you know you were going to play George, like when you wrote it? Like, did you write that part for yourself?
Yes, I was open, obviously, to what, to getting the movie made. I feel like I'm a performer first, and I imagined myself in the role as I was writing the dialogue. But the idea that someone else would play it, I think, might have broken my heart. But if this big star were to come along and be like, I'm going to play George, I would never have gotten in their way. The thing that I'm sure as well as I do, is that there are no gay movie stars. There are no out gay male movie stars who can open a movie and that can command some huge budget that would have helped us. We're all sort of unproven quantities right now. I mean, they're on hit TV shows or they're on streaming films, but a film like ours that opened in theaters, as an independent film, there's just we're still in the early stages of what I hope is a movement where all of these queer filmmakers and queer performers can finally get the starring roles instead of being relegated to the side. And that's a very exciting prospect.
That is exciting. If you weren't going to be in this, like, just someone said you can't be you, did you have someone in mind for George if it wasn't going to be you?
No. But I would be open. I would have been open to suggestions. Sure.
And you do have a point. Like, you think of like American Horror Story, or like, right, there's a lot of great roles on TV for like out great actors that are doing great work. But you think of like opening a movie to like a blockbuster.
The podcasters can't. The listeners can't. I'm holding up a zero.
You're holding up the zero
with my hand. Yeah. It just doesn't exist. And I think that it's really time that changed.
It is.
Yeah.
As a writer, like, I really don't know the answer to this question. Like, how involved in casting do you get?
I read with the actors, but I was not necessarily involved with casting. But it was nice to be in the casting sessions and read the dialogue with the actors. The search for Joe, who plays the hitman who seduces both my stepmother, played by Eliza Coupe, and me, it took the longest. And the benefit of being the writer and also sort of knowing the character and the kind of look of the guy that I had in my head when I wrote it, and reading with each guy, was that I knew what I wanted to feel in the scene. And when Greg Finley, our Joe, we did a Zoom audition, even though it was before COVID. He lives in Maine. We did a Zoom audition, and I was shaking when the scene was over. And it's this scene where he makes me strip for him. And I was in this little office in Burbank with the director and the producers and the casting director behind me. And he was yelling at me and ordering me to strip. And I literally did, even though I didn't have to. It was such a commanding, powerful, erotic performance that it was just very clear that this was our guy. And I'm glad that I was sort of there to experience that, rather than just show up on set and be like, oh, this is him.
Wow. So did you get a say, like, even though you weren't really in casting, like after you read with someone, did you get to weigh in?
Sometimes I think that we honestly just kept, for that particular role, it was just kind of obvious, and with Eliza, who was on Happy Endings, and she's on this new show Pivoting on Fox, when she and I met in person, she didn't read for the role. She's a big TV star. When she just sat down and we just started talking, we got along so well that the chemistry from anyone from like 10 miles away could see that we had this crackling thing. And working with her, and how funny she is, and how funny she made me in every situation, was just such a gift. And so in that case too, it was just really obvious.
I know you're a pop culture junkie. Did you watch, because she was on Scrubs too, like did you watch Scrubs or Happy Endings?
I did watch Scrubs. I watched every episode of Happy Endings so many times. It's like, for me, it was the new Friends. So I knew that it was brilliant. And I think it really holds up too. And that entire cast was just, lightning in a bottle. So good and so funny. So funny.
I think it was like one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
Really.
It really was. And I remember that she said, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but like they were trying to reboot it and get it back up and running and everything. But everyone on the show is just so busy doing other things, and they're really popular creating shows or being in movies and stuff, that it's hard to get that many people that are having such great success all come together and have their schedules all aligned and everything, Yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting. Well,
maybe it will happen. Yeah.
I was going to say, maybe now that you brought it up and put it out to the world, maybe someone will listen to this and say, let's just, Bit Sesh can wait a week. Let's get Casey Wilson on the phone today.
I think so. They can do it from her trailer. Definitely.
Just do it from the trailer. What about Heather Matarazzo? Like, did you watch like Welcome to the Dollhouse and like
so many times?